Hello and welcome to In the Cellar by Marquee Selections. I have with me its Managing Director, Chris Cribb. Thank you for inviting us into your cellar again.
Sure, Bonnie. Great to be with you here.
Okay, it's Thanksgiving, practically.
Practically.
Okay.
We wanted to get you ready.
Yeah, we do. And there are so many complex flavors associated with the holiday, what to serve with them, and I know you have the answers.
Sure.
Okay.
You know, we wanted to keep things a little simple this year.
Simple's always works.
And we brought out 3 very nice wines for you to take a look at today.
Okay.
They're all different styles. The price point on all of them is under $15, so very easy on the budget. And I think they'll really complement a lot of those different flavors.
Okay, tell us, what's this first one? Right here we've got is this the Riesling?
This is a Riesling. So this is an Australian Riesling.
Okay.
So Riesling is mostly known from coming from Germany.
Yes.
Australia has a rich winemaking history for 200 years, no prohibition. So they've been making Riesling down there for a long time as well. When Australians make Riesling, they make it a little less sweet. So we call this an off-dry style.
So for those people who go, oh, I don't do Riesling because it's too sweet, you really need to give this a try.
Right. And but it's got just that touch of sweetness to it, so that if you do like that sweet style, it has just a little bit of flavor to it. It's almost like it's more bright and fruity.
Okay, so let's give this a try,
Sure.
and then
We'll talk about, why it pairs with those good things for Thanksgiving. To get a little bit of that.
Tart.
It is tart.
Okay, this would hold up to the turkey, wouldn't it? Because we usually think of a white wine for turkey, but the turkey usually has been basted in butter, and we've done it right. And what to stand up to that richness?
It's the acid in a wine like this, because when you think about something like you get the everyday off the shelf Chardonnay,
right?
You put it with the
what we
turkey.
typically do.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It can be fine, but it doesn't necessarily contrast with the acid, so that it kind of cleans your palate. And that's one of the things that this really does with the turkey.
I would not have thought of that, except that I'm probably going to do it now because it's not sweet. I would describe it more as citrus, sharp, and you just want to take that next bite of turkey after you've sipped that wine.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's got it's got that little bit lower alcohol as well. So in terms of how it feels on your mouth and the palate, when you're talking about one that's like a 13-14%, it starts to get a little heavy. Where this is 11.5-12%. So
and we're supposed to get sleepy from turkey anyway, so this will wake you up.
Yeah.
This will wake you up a bit.
I think Riesling's a great pairing for your turkey day meal.
Outstanding.
And it also kind of goes with some of those other flavors you get on the outside.
So what else might you want to serve? What course might you want to serve this with?
Well, it kind of depends on what your family does as a tradition. My family, one of the things that we do, which is not necessarily tradition everywhere, is we do like an apple crisp. Something like that.
That's a tradition. That happens in our house too.
Something like that.
So good dessert.
It does. It's because of the versatility of it being so nice and light. It also kind of plays nicely with your dessert course.
And so in our app,
we just eat that really big plate of food, and then afterwards you're having that light thing. The wine goes back with that.
Well, and so many apple crisps or apple pies do have grated orange or lemon zest in it.
True.
And mine does. And this is a match made in heaven. All right, so what else do we have for Thanksgiving, and what are we going to pair it with?
Sure. Well, the second place, so we started with Australia. Now we're going to go to the rosé.
Okay.
We did our little talk about rosé a few weeks back here.
We did do that.
And what we said is that rosés are not just pink wine, not just white Zinfandel anymore.
Because so many people said, well, make up your mind. Is it either red or is it white? And now they have delivered a red wine that won't blow you over with tannins, but still I think captures flavor.
It does. It captures flavor. It's got a little bit of a spice to it, and it's not sweet, really. You get that same idea that we got with the other one.
No, we had a surprise.
So it's got kind of this strawberry flavor.
Oh, how yummy. I remember this now.
Yeah, a little bit of that kind of watermelon, cranberry. cranberry always jumps out with when I think of Thanksgiving
And
for this.
you have to have cranberry, whether you do the preserves or whether it's from a can, whatever your tradition is, that flavor, and cranberry muffins, and I just saw a cranberry clafouti.
Cranberry muffins. That sounds like a good one.
Okay.
I like that
So
idea.
we've got us covered on the cranberry scene. What else might this pair with at the table?
You know, I think that this would also be good with the stuffing. This also is very good wine for ham. You know, if
And
you're,
many people do both.
Yes.
Ham and turkey.
so this goes nicely
would
with
go.
that, with a little more saltiness in the
Especially
ham.
if you use Dijon mustard anywhere, this would be.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, I'm getting
So-
very hungry for Thanksgiving.
Well, and when you think of, and we'll talk about this. So this is Malbec Rosé.
Malbec. Okay.
So this is Malbec, the grape from Argentina,
which we love.
which we feel like that's a great growing region, and so it gets a little bit of that darker fruit flavor to it. And so when I talk about like the cranberries and those type of things, that's also pulled out in our third wine that we have, which is red wine. So, you know, if you're talking about your in between for some people that want
We've got something for everyone here,
And
actually.
then we've got the red where, you know, they're like, all I drink is red.
And I hear that, and I respect that.
Sure.
Too.
Well,
okay.
you know, red wine's got more health benefits for it.
Yes.
You
If
know,
you can deal with the tannins,
Sure.
it is.
from
It's your health.
resveratrol, you know, being a component in it, to just the red wine
So
compound.
whose red is this?
So this is Staccato, which is a Cabernet and Malbec blend. So it takes that Malbec grape we just got a little bit familiar with on the rosé.
We did.
It adds Cabernet, the king of deep
king.
red
Yes, it is.
grapes, to it to make it a little more full-bodied. And I find this one, you know, goes really well with the heartiest things that you're going to be putting on for your Thanksgiving. So, you know, if it's something that's got a big sauce on with the turkey.
Well,
you
your
know, but,
gravies
Yeah.
frequently have that.
you know, we've gone to the bigger glass
Yes,
here.
more
and,
air. We talk about how important that is for our rich, full-bodied reds.
and don't feel bad if you're at Grandma's house and she doesn't have this big glass.
Okay.
You know, regular glass will work. Actually, you know, even if you've got a big red and there's nothing around, a water glass is a nice.
Because it will give you the space for the air.
Gives you the space for the air. So
Okay.
that's a little hint.
Okay,
And,
we have a hint.
And then what I find is that, you know, when we get into something that's got a little more fat to it, this goes well with that. You know,
There's butter with that turkey.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're a red wine person,
I know some people that do like a stuffing with oysters, you know, something like that.
Very
would be a little
rich.
more complex
Yes.
and rich and needs a little bit more, flavor. And yeah, it's also very versatile for some of those foods that are hard to pair. You know, something that asparagus is always just
asparagus is the challenge, and people frequently do Brussels sprouts with bacon. And
Bacon.
this,
Yeah, that's good.
This is going to stand up to the bacon in the Brussels sprouts. So, okay, so we're going to serve this at cellar temperature.
Sure, yeah, so let's serve this cellar temperature. You know, if I'm frequently the one that gets the call to say, hey, can you bring some wines too?
Let's talk about transporting, because that is frequently a challenge.
It is. So if you have the that position, and it depends on how early you want to go ahead and to get things ready for your event.
Okay.
If you're going straight and you know they're going to be consumed within an hour, what I usually do is I just put them in the fridge at my house beforehand.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of the small grocery type bags that they give you that are kind of transport friendly for wine bottles. If you actually ask when you're buying wine next time, they've got those inserts that go into the cases.
Oh.
You can put an insert into one of those small bags. It acts just like a little holder to hold everything to be able to take it.
So we reduce breakage.
So you reduce breakage, you don't have any problems there.
Yes.
And when you get there, your first job could be just put it in the freezer. Take 10 minutes, put it in the freezer. It'll just give it that
Remember
chill.
it's there.
Remember it's there. You can't leave it there all day. But
Okay.
that's a good way to, you know, to just not have to worry about it beforehand. Take care of it when it gets there, and then you're ready to go.
And then you're ready to go. And if you're really in charge of the wine at the event, you could help get the glasses put together, because we want our rosés and our whites to have less air in the bowl.
Sure.
And the deep reds, we want a little more, and you could be helpful with that.
And they've got some
well.
really nice disposable stimware as well. They've got some picnic stimware that they've come out with. It is a hard acrylic plastic. that I've seen travels very nicely as well.
So I have a question, and it does pertain to Thanksgiving because sometimes we bring out our best for Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
I was once told that there's a difference in the wine experience if you drink out of crystal as opposed to glass. Have you ever heard that?
I have.
Okay, and the reason that I was given for this is because it is a denser material and it retains the flavors and temperature. And what do you think?
I believe that the shape is the biggest thing.
It's the biggest thing.
It's the
We have
biggest
to
thing.
remember
And
that.
so you get a good shape, you are going half the battle.
There you go.
But the other half of the battle, if you do have crystal, it does. It almost acts as almost an inert, where something doesn't stick to it. You think about oil and how oil looks in an engine.
Yes.
Wine is kind of the same way in the glass. You can see the inside of the glass and how it kind of sticks to it. Well, it sticks to glass and it sticks to crystal differently. And so the body and the feel of how it goes into your mouth, the way it comes off the lip of the glass, makes it a different experience.
Makes it a different experience. So should you have crystal, it would be a great time to bring it out, just to go that extra mile for these wines.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, I was given a tip when we got married a couple of years back that says you will have only so many chances to experience the finest things in wine. So when you have that opportunity, go ahead. Pull out the fine china, pull out the crystals.
I'm told the same thing
enjoy it.
about coffee. To drink it out of porcelain is a different experience than a pottery. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, so we're going the extra mile. Should we have crystal available to us? And you've gone the extra mile as well in your selection process for the Marquee portfolio. It's been recognized by Wine Spectator. Tell us how you achieved this tremendous accomplishment.
Sure. You know, we've done a lot of homework to find not only unique areas to bring wines from and unique producers, but a number of winemakers that really are my ambassadors from that nation that help us to create the best that we can. We tried wines from Argentina and Australia here today for for this meal, and Keith Bryan's my winemaker in Australia. He's a former pilot that started growing a vineyard in his backyard when he would have 2 weeks off.
There you go.
You know, he was flying a plane.
Passion,
And so he realized that he just loved it, fell in love with it. You know, gave up the flying career, and we are lucky to have him. Yes, to be able to just work on grapes, and the passion that those winemakers put into their products really comes out, especially with our sustainable green focus. It's not cheap, it's not easy to be able to follow all of the rules to make that happen, and we're really happy to see that they're committed to it, and it shows in the wine. So.
It does. Well, thank you for taking the care, for finding these people passionate about what they do. Next week, we are going to be in the cellar pairing more cheese and wines because it's time to entertain. In the meantime, how can we learn more about Marquee?
Well, besides being able to find us out on the website, we have www.marquee.com. Has a list of all of our locations we're sold in, and all of
including restaurants and shops.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can go and you can take a look there. We have a online store called the Marquee Cellar that you can purchase at, and you can join one of our groups, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, to be able to follow all of our events and things that we're doing as well.
Well, thank you for taking the time not only to select but to teach us. So, to your health and a happy Thanksgiving holiday.
Cheers. Cheers.